Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of your Arkansas Football Recruitment Report with your one and only Mr. Otis Kirk. Otis, how you doing out here today, man?
CJ, I am doing great, man. Just hanging in there, hot weather, no air conditioner right now. No, I got a little bit of air. I've got a portable one, but no, till I get it fixed this week. But no, it's going pretty good, man. It could be a lot worse.
We'll get that fixed, man, so you won't be sweating. We're out there.
Yeah.
I tell you, people who's sweating right now, some of the people in the SEC, because the Arkansas football commitments have just been rolling.
Yeah.
I believe we're in the top 10 right now. And Davion Dozier, wide receiver, and Brad Spence, two of those guys committed earlier this week. How special are those two commits for the University of Arkansas moving forward?
Nice pickups because they need a player at both those positions. He's the second wide receiver, joins Micah Tease. We're talking about Dozier, of course.
Yeah.
6'4", 195. He chose Arkansas over Maryland, South Carolina, Duke, and Tennessee. And for people always ask me, who does he remind you of?
Right.
And I'll tell you, Dozier reminds me. I'm talking about coming out of high school. I'm not talking about right now, but coming out of high school, he reminds me of Trey Knox. He really reminds me of Trey Knox coming out of Tennessee there. Yeah, Trey was a big kid that maybe needed to get a little faster and stuff, and his speed and strength at tight end, but very good hands. Got plenty of speed to get open and stuff. But that just a big target that maybe is not a 4.2 guy, but certainly got plenty of speed, but somebody that can out-muscle, win the 50-50 jump, 50-50 ball and stuff, and just a powerful player Dozier is. I mean, he had some good offers there. He obviously beat Tennessee. Justin Stepp knows receivers. He recruited several good ones, including Burks and Knox, to Arkansas and others. But I mean, they beat him on Dozier, him in Tennessee and Maryland, Duke. And then Spence, I'm proud he finally went public with this thing. We've been talking about him for 2 years, I think. I mean, every week we talk about Brad Spence. Maybe next week. He's been committed for a while, CJ. I can tell you that. He's been committed for a while. Yeah. And I kind of lucked into knowing that. But he's been committed for a while. But he chose Arkansas over Texas and California. He had a lot of other offers, but a kid that can really – well, I'm sorry, real quick on Dozier. He had 51 catches for 833 yards, 12 touchdowns, returned 5 kickoffs for 113 yards, and then rushed 6 times for 23 yards. Spence had 72 tackles, 51 solos, 11 for loss, 1.5 for sacks, 7 quarterback hurries, 6 pass breakups. But, Spence is a kid that just really 6'3", 230. It's what they're doing there at linebacker. They've got 2 other kids committed at linebacker. Carson Dean is 6'4", 235. And then you got the big kid from Oxford, 6'4", 230. These are guys, like I've said before, these are guys coming out of high school that look like the linebackers they're playing against on Saturdays, when they're playing the Auburns, the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Georgias, those schools, the better Floridas, the better schools. Those are what those teams have, it looks like. And Arkansas in the past has recruited some safeties, played linebacker. They've got the shorter guys, but these are all tall kids, big kids that really fit the bill for that linebacker position. That's a credit to not only Michael Shearer, but Barry Odom and that Sam Pittman and that whole staff for recruiting. They're upgrading they're getting the kids that are bigger, more SEC type for that position. Right. And they're not having their transition. You've got to make them stronger, and they can always get faster. Every kid's trying to get bigger, stronger, and faster. I get that. But it cuts down when a kid's 6'4", 230 coming out of high school, or 6'4", 235, or 6'3", 230. It cuts down on the developing time as far as getting their body right. You got Coach Walker will redistribute some of this stuff, that weight and stuff. It's getting stronger, but it's a lot easier to do it when you come in with that kind of size, And so, because you can't coach a kid to be 6'4". Barry Odom, Mike Shearer, and those guys, Sam Pittman, they're great coaches, but they can't coach kid to be 6'4", 6'3". If they're 6'1", they're 6'1". That's something you can't coach. So that's what Arkansas is doing. And Spence was a nice pickup. Like I said, I've known for quite a while he was coming. That's why I kept mentioning, because I knew eventually he was going to go public with this thing, and he did. And then Dozier was kind of a kid that when they didn't get the when they didn't get the kid from Owasso, the speedy wide receiver, and they lost one out of Louisiana to Nebraska, then Dozier was next in line to get that scholarship, and so he got it, and that's a good pickup for that big kid that can run. So both these are excellent pickups. And one thing, like I said earlier, CJ, they needed players at these positions, wide receiver and linebacker. Yeah. That gives them 2 wide receivers. And, I told you earlier, if they could get 2 high school receivers they really like, they're probably okay to wait and see what develops in the portal later on and get an older guy. Yeah, I mean, because you're going to lose. You stand to possibly lose Hazelwood. You stand to lose some of these other kids. So you kind of wait and see what you need. And if you need to go get an older one, you may not need to because you've got some young guys like Stegna, the kid, some other players, these young guys, they're able to play too. So it's going to be an interesting, and it's really fun this year because there's no 25 limits. Because if there was 25 limit, they'd basically be full right now. But there's no 25 limit. They won't know till people leave how many they'll actually have to give. But, they're not going to shut this thing down. They're going to be looking at kids, and they're not going to turn down this. What that does, that puts them in a position to not turn down a kid who's just too good to turn down. You might have to, if you were full, maybe there's nothing you can do if some kid fell in your lap, but this way there is. And so you're not going to stop recruiting. And I don't know if Sam ever stops recruiting anyway. I think the guy dreams about recruiting at night, man.
I agree with you, man.
I was teasing him over camp about that. I really think he dreams about it, man. I mean, some of us dream about girls or money, and he's dreaming about recruits. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's bringing them in left and right, and like you talked about Dozier, man.
He and that staff can do it, man. They can do it. They don't recruit you. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, if you don't recruit with Sam, you're not gonna be here long. So I mean, that staff knows what they're doing. And Kenny Guyton and Michael Shearer are 2 very good coaches, wide receiver and linebacker. And they get the job done. Now, you don't have to worry about Jimmy Smith, some of those guys. You don't worry about them, man. Really don't worry about too many on this staff because, like I said, Sam keeps recruiting in mind when he hires someone. You've got to be known as a recruiter, And so we're going to see how it all plays out. But I'm really liking the way it's shaping up. Dominic Bowman came in here and really loaded up on some defensive backs the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've been talking about them on here.
Yeah, he shook some things up these last couple of weeks. His first football season coming up, and I like that Dozier pick, man, that he put on Twitter. I think he was on top of the field. I think that was him. That was a nice one. I think the committed had the diamond rings in there. It was pretty nice.
Oh yeah, them kids. I tell you what.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, the next kid we're going to talk about is a coach. I certainly didn't forget when I was mentioning good recruiters, great recruiters, Cody Kennedy. You're going to talk about Bison Lang, I know. And that could be the next commitment for the Razorbacks. This kid's, he's been here 3 times since the end of the season, CJ. I'm talking about from January January till now. He's been here 3 times January till right till right before the spring practice. During spring practice, he's been here 3 times during that time on unofficial business. Now he's coming back for the Alabama game on September 30th, October the 2nd on official business. I'm sorry, 6'5", 330, and he's got it down. And I really think Bison will be the next kid to go public or to commit to Arkansas. We'll see. Right now, he's down to 6. Arkansas, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, LSU, and Auburn. See, that tells you what kind of schools are recruiting, what kind of kids are recruiting, and what schools are recruiting against. Those are all big-time schools. Those are big-time schools. Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, LSU, Auburn. Yeah, a couple of those schools were down last year. Those schools don't stay down long. They don't stay down long. Those are all prime schools, and Arkansas is recruiting just them on Bison Lang and Cody Kennedy and Sam Pittman. It's hard for me to ever bet against those 2 guys on an offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. That's a big-time offensive lineman. He's getting recruited by some big-time schools, like the schools you just named. My goodness.
Yeah. Pike Road, Alabama is where he's from. I should have said that earlier. Pike Road, Alabama. Very good player. They got a sophomore running back down there that's going to get about 2,500 yards this year. CJ in Arkansas has offered him too. Jimmy Smith knows those running backs, man. He got that room going over there where there ain't nobody going to be bothering that running back room for a while with Jimmy there. He keeps it going. He's a dandy. I mean, he's a great recruiter. Stays on Braylon Russell and everybody, and just very good recruiter.
And Otis, if I'm not mistaken, that's another guy from Alabama. I want to say like Brad Spence is from Alabama, or is that Dozier?
Brad Dozier's from Alabama, and so is Dallas Young, the cornerback.
Yeah.
So they're in Alabama. They're in there hard. But Brad is from Houston Klein Forest. And by the way, when Brad Spence visited Arkansas and California, he was here first, then went to California. Both Arkansas and California offered Trent, his little brother, 6'3", 210, 2025, I believe.
Okay.
Going to be a sophomore this year. That makes him 25 kid. So yeah, I mean. So you may double the package there with Spence. I mean, you may get double get double mint gum, you double the pleasure or double the fun, whatever they say with that old commercial. But only people like me, 100 years old, knows that commercial. But anyway, no, I mean Spence is and his brother. Let me tell you, I saw his little brother when they were up here, and I'm gonna say younger brother because I don't know how little. I mean, 6'3", 210, he ain't too little. And, going out of the 9th grade into the 10th grade. But anyway, Arkansas offered him, so they may be in line to get another Spence eventually. But he's an edge rusher, linebacker, just like Brad does down there in high school, kind of come off that edge. And Mike likes to convert those kids into linebackers. Some kids they got on campus, the Sanders kid that came from Alabama was kind of an edge guy in high school and come out a 5-star, and Arkansas was playing him at linebacker. That's what they're going to do. Same thing with Carson Dean. Same thing with Brad Spence. So, yeah, it's a way to get these big athletic guys and let them stand up and make these plays, not tie them down to one side of the field or something. Put them in there at linebacker, let them read the play and make a ton of plays. Because that's what linebackers at Arkansas do. They had 3 over 100 last year. I think Bumper led them. I think he had 125, if I'm not mistaken, to lead the team. And of course, you had Hayden Henry and Morgan over 100 as well. So I mean, yeah, that's those guys. These linebackers. Every single one of these 3 kids mentioned that too. CJ is a factor in choosing Arkansas. All 3 of them mentioned that the linebackers make plays, and they know that. And this defense, it's up to them to come here and do it. But they know the opportunity is there to make plays, and that's what any great player wants. Is just an opportunity. He doesn't want to promise or give to him because you got to earn it. Yeah, and they want to, but they know it's there. If they do what they're supposed to do, that opportunity is there, and that's what they got at linebacker right now.
And speaking of linebacker,
it's an easy sale.
Speaking of linebacker, speaking of opportunity, you got a double package probably coming in for University of Arkansas. One of Coach Odom's finest, to say the least, JT and Garrett. One's a linebacker and one's a quarterback coming in. Talk about that dude that could be coming into face. Yeah,
JT is 6'2", 220 at Shiloh. All these players are from Shiloh Christian. I saw them all play Thursday and Friday. I saw them last season too, in the season, but I saw these kids at the 7 on Southwest Elite 7-on-7, which is a very good tournament Jeff Conway puts on up there. But JT is 6'2", 220 linebacker. He is committed to be a preferred walk-on at Arkansas. Okay. And, he's a big kid. I mean, his size is legit. He had 25 tackles last year, 13 solos, had tackle for loss. They had, he kind of played behind some people. They had Caden Henley last year that was playing there, and now he's at Arkansas. And so JT will probably step up and take a lot of those reps and get some more reps and have a chance to make more plays without Caden. Caden will be at Arkansas now, or is at Arkansas now. And then Garrett, 6 foot 170, going into the 10th grade this year. He's already got 6 offers at quarterback. He's playing wide receiver for Shiloh, simply because Eli Wisdom is the quarterback who's going to be a senior. But they have packages, and I talked to Gary and Eli both about this. I said, are they going to do kind of like Arkansas is doing Malik, where at times Eli will flank out to receiver and Garrett will move to quarterback? And yeah, they said they've got some packages. They're going to do that. Garrett's got offers to Arkansas, Texas A&M, Purdue, Middle Tennessee, North Texas, and Texas San Antonio. Our buddy Jeff Traylor down there at Texas San Antonio's offered him. And, that's the thing about Garrett. He's that's just from his 9th grade year. He's already got 6 offers. And, right now what Jeff Conway's doing at Shiloh, the head coach, he's trying to get his best athletes on the field. And that's why you'll see Garrett lined up quite a bit at receiver and then Eli quarterback. But if Eli got hurt, Garrett would go to quarterback. Or, like I said, they have packages where he will go in there, And Eli, the senior, the 2023 quarterback, is being recruited as an athlete. Central Florida Gus has offered him, and then Tulane, I believe, is the other offer he told me. But Arkansas is looking at him, and they're talking to him about possibly playing some receiver here. You know, they were beating Harding Academy pretty bad Friday morning, and they took Eli out and put Garrett in at quarterback, and I got to see him throw. And I saw them last year too, you know. And then Garrett was I watched the Greenwood Shiloh Christian 9th grade game last year, so I went to that. I don't go to many junior high games, but when you see kids like that play, there's some good ball players out there. But anyway, Garrett's and both of these kids, you know, Coach Odom's on the staff. Garrett told me that Arkansas just offered him, you know, because recently, or not recent, but fairly recently, because his dad's on the staff. They can't make a mistake. They want to see him throw before they offered him. It's the same. Yep. You know, they don't want to make a mistake with coach's stuff because you don't want to do that. You know? And so they watched him throw and they offered him. And like I said, he's like Kane Archer down at Greenwood. He's going to get a ton of offers. I mean, they're going to keep offering him. Well, they know his dad is defensive coordinator at Arkansas. Great friends with Sam Pittman, and yet 5 other schools besides Arkansas already offered him. Right. So that's not, you know, A&M and Purdue and, you know, Texas, San Antonio, those schools are not scared off of that. You know, you want to recruit the best, and you can't worry about 3 years from now. You know, a lot can change in 3 years. You know, you never know where anybody's going to be in 3 years. You don't know who knows what can be happening in 3 years. So you wait off of these kids, and you stay on them, and then, yeah, you know, if you don't get them, that's fine. But at least you got to recruit them. And people are not going to back off of Garrett because of his dad's. There may be some schools, but I guarantee you most of them are not going to back off. That's evident by 5 offered besides Arkansas already. And so, no, these are good kids at Shiloh. They open the season on September the 2nd against Little Rock Christian. Boy, that's going to be a ball game. I mean, that is Walker White's with Little Rock Christian, the quarterback, 2024, that everybody in the country, including Arkansas, has offered. So if you want to see some talent, go up there and watch that game at night. Also, you'll have Bixby play in the Springdale Harbor up at Harbor. So now we know who plays at Bixby, the Dylan and Luke Haas. So I mean, you go have some good games that weekend to watch up here, CJ.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Shiloh Christian, one of the best schools down here. I think that's one. I was like, who is this team, Shiloh Christian? They are just dominating everybody. And they run a first class program. My first year up here was 1997, and I worked for the morning news then and other stuff. And I covered the Razorbacks, but also I covered Shiloh Christian. Gus Malzahn was the head coach that year. And I mean, I went to Frontenac, Kansas, Murfreesboro, Arkansas. McCrory, Arkansas. I went all over the place. P. Ridge covering Shiloh that year, and then it was good. I mean, they run a first class program, and I know people get mad because they're a private school. You get accused of all the recruits. Listen, man. I mean, I don't care about any of that. All I do is go to the games and watch and leave that to everybody else. You know, let them figure that out if it's going on. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. I don't care. But because all I want to do when I'm covering a team is go watch them play and write and be fair to them, be fair to the readers and stuff, and everybody, players and everybody else. You know. I agree. Everybody should have the same plan. Yeah. Let's get to the last guy, Eli Wisdom, the athlete. My God, man, do it all, man.
Yeah, and you know he's their best athlete up there at Shiloh. Like I said, he's playing quarterback, and you know he had some unbelievable stats. He passed for 2,991 yards and 36 touchdowns. Wow. He rushed for 1,021 and scored 18 touchdowns. So let's see, he had 36 passes and 18 rushes. He had 54 touchdowns. CJ, 54 touchdowns. He accounted for. There's high school teams in Arkansas, a bunch of them, that probably don't score 54 touchdowns in a season. Nope. This one kid accounted for 54 touchdowns. That's unreal. I mean, that's what kind of kid he is. And you know, Central Florida's offered him, and I think I said Tulane. But Arkansas is looking at him. You know, I think he'd be a receiver if he came here. You know, he's being recruited as an athlete because, as I said, he is their best athlete. He's their best athlete they got up there, and he can play a lot of positions. And, you know, there's going to be some mismatches when they put him out there at receiver and let Garrett throw it to him because he can outrun a lot of the kids they're going to be facing. So, and Shiloh needs that kind of speed, you know, because that's the one thing they maybe, as good as their program is and everything, sometimes they lack overall team speed. And Eli has that for them. And so, not the rest of these guys are slow, but I'm just saying he's got that elite speed to get out there and challenge some of these defensive backs they'll be playing. They're moving up a division. So it's going to be fun watching that and see some of this unfold, see how the Odoms and the Wisdoms do. And you can bet one thing, Jeff Conway at the end of the year will have them right up there compete for everything, does every year. You can go to the bank on that one. They will be competing every single year. They don't miss.
I'm going to the bank.
I like Greenwood and them.
I'm going to the bank, Otis. I'm going to cash my check because these guys.
Pulaski Academy, Greenwood, Shiloh, those are some schools that you can just take it to the bank, man. When we do these high school pick'ems and stuff, I always pick them to win. I don't miss very many times. I'm wrong a few times, but I ain't wrong very often, man. I'm telling you. Because when it's Shiloh Christian, Pulaski Academy, Greenwood, and maybe, and Bryant's the other one. When Bryant's those four schools, I'm picking them to win every time, and they don't always win. But I'm not wrong very often, man. I like the odds.
You heard it from here from Otis Kirk. Look, I couldn't score 54 touchdowns on my career on Madden in one season.
54 touchdowns. Yeah, there's some kids that probably don't count. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of recruits that don't count for 54 touchdowns in their 3 years in high school. And this kid did it in 1 year. That's unheard of. I mean, it's just unreal. And he had 36 touchdowns. He only threw 10 interceptions. He attempted, let's see, I've got it real quick. He attempted 307 passes, CJ, and he had 10 interceptions. So, I mean, that's one over 30-something passes. 30.7 passes, I believe, he threw an interception, And so, I mean, that's really good. Coaches will take that, and he'll probably cut down even on the interceptions this year, and but they're going to be good. I watched them. They actually won that tournament. They came through they got beat. They went undefeated Thursday, came back Friday, got beat the second or third game, and then come back through the losers bracket and beat Rogers for the championship. I believe it was Rogers they beat for the title game.
Okay.
For the championship, in the title game.
Well, Otis, I appreciate it, man. Another week of Arkansas football. You broke it down, man, in every way, every player. We appreciate you, man, every week. I appreciate it, man.
You bet. Thanks, CJ. See, man, I enjoyed your coverage on the Arkansas team, too, in the basketball.
Hey, thanks, man. We had a good time. I'm glad they won yesterday. Hopefully they can win tonight. We'll be looking forward to the third round.
If they win that $1 million, tell them not to forget me and you, man. I didn't do anything, but tell them not to forget me anyway.
I told Coach Patel, I said, hey, Coach, just bring me back a couple dollars is all I need, Coach.
Yeah.
Just a couple bucks. I'll take it.
You bet. See you, man. Have a good one. Talk to you this week.
Yes, sir.